So that's how I got their coordinates, since they're midpoints of line A, B, and AC. Now, can we answer the question on letter A? Yes, we can now find the midpoint of DE because we already know the coordinates of point D and point E. So therefore, applying the same formula, so for point D, sorry, point DE or point D and point E. So these are the coordinates. Okay, so this is my x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 2. And then substituting everything in the formula, we'll get this. Okay, so negative 1 minus 3 divided by 2, and then 4 plus 1 divided by 2. So my answer here is negative 1 and 2.5. So this is the coordinates of the midpoint of DE, basically the middle of DE. All right. Now let's go to letter B. Now this is just a simple question about distance or length. So what is the length of DE? So basically using the same coordinates, you will now use the formula for getting the distance or getting the length of a line. So this is the formula, right? So we had this before. I mean yesterday. Okay. So applying this, substituting the values of this to this formula, okay, your answer will be equal to 5 units. So that's it for example number 4. All right. So what's important with this topic here, this particular topic here, is you know how to find the midpoint. Okay. And then you know how to find a missing coordinate, which is not the midpoint. Okay, basically that's it. All right. Now let's go to the next topic, which is, we had this before, you know, gradients, right? So the gradient is basically how steep a line is, and this is the formula for that. Everyone knows this already. We already had this when you were in Sec 1, right? So m is equal to y sub 2 minus y sub 1 divided by x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Everyone knows this formula, I know. Now, okay, so let's have a very basic question. How do we find the gradient of these points? Okay, so let's have this one. Okay, it's very basic, class. Okay, so the formula again is m. By the way, we use small letter m for gradient, equals, again, let me start with the formula. Y sub 2 minus y sub 1 divided by x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So substituting the values of this here, so this is my x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, and then y sub 2. So that's what I did here. So substituting them here, so it's now 6 minus 3, and then my x sub 2 is 3 minus 2. So therefore my gradient is 3. Okay, so simple as that. All right. Okay, I won't discuss letter B because I already know how to do that. Okay, so that's how we find the gradient basically, right? Okay, now let me jump to number 8. Now let's have this question. Given that the distinct points T1 for point A, and then point B is at 2, 4, and then C is 1, T, are collinear. Find the value of T. Now, what's the new word here? Okay, the word collinear, what does it mean? Hmm? Collinear, what does it mean? Collinear. Okay. Okay, the word co, I'm not good in English, but I think the word co means same, right? That's why we say when you say colleague, you're in the same company, right? That's why when you say cooperate, you work together, right? Or you're together, right? So the word co means together. And what is the word linear? Okay, the word linear means same line, basically. Collinear means on the same line. Right, let me write it here. Same line. Okay, that's what it means. Same line. Okay, and then we need to find the value of t. So this one involves a little bit of algebra. Okay, now this is just a sketch, okay? So let's have this x and y uh, coordinates here. Now let me draw a random line. Okay, I'm not going to draw a straight horizontal line because this is about gradient. If I draw a horizontal line, that means that the gradient is already 0, right? So I'm assuming that the gradient of this, let's say, is positive. Okay. Now, and then let me plot those points. So for example, point A is here, point B is here, and point C is over here. But the point here, class, is that these 3 points are on the same line. That's why we call them collinear. Okay. Now, when when let's say when 3 points are on the same line, do you think that the gradient of line AB is the same with the gradient with line BC? Hmm. Do you think their gradients will be the same since they're lying on the same line? So if I took the gradient of line AB, will it still be equal with the gradient of line BC? Hmm? Yes, of course. It's because they're on the same line. Okay, long story short, I'll just make it short because I don't have much time explaining a lot of things. All right. So because if you took the gradient of line AC, it's basically taking the gradient of just the both this lines. They will basically have the same gradient if they are on the same line. Of course, if one more point is here and then you draw another line like this, they won't have the same gradient anymore because this is another line. So take note of that. When you have collinear points, that means that they have the same gradient. All right. So let me write it here. Same line. So same gradient. Okay. So if the gradient of line AB is, let's say, 5, the gradient of BC is also 5. And if you extend this, their gradient are all the same, which is basically, let's say, 5. All right. Anyway, how do we answer this? How do we apply that concept in this question? Okay, so let's have, that means that their gradients will be the same, right? So let me write this. So that means that the gradient, sorry, of line AB is equal to the gradient of line BC. Basically, this is how you solve this class, right? Since you have the same point on the line, so they have the same gradient. All right. Any question, class? Okay. All right. So and then let's begin with the formula again. So the formula is okay, y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1 equals, same here, of course. Okay, wait, let me just copy and paste this. All right, okay. So there you go, okay. Now, we now substitute their values, okay. Let me start with line AB. So this is my x sub 1, y sub 1, this is my x sub 2, y sub 2. Okay, so y sub 2 is 4 minus 1. Okay, are you guys following? Again, it's 4 minus 1. And then my x sub 2 minus x sub 1 is 2 minus t, right? There you go, okay? That's for line AB. How about for line BC? So I'll just do the same, okay? I'll just do the same. Okay, so I'll erase this and then make this my, let's say x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 2. All right. So what will be my y sub 2 minus y sub 1? So that will be t minus 4. Okay, following, guys? So again, t minus 4 for this one. And how about for my x sub 2 and minus y sub 2? It's 1 minus 2, right? So 1 minus 2. So there you go. This is your equation basically. And then how do you solve for the value of t? Okay, so what's the shortcut here, class? So we just need to cross multiply this out. This one here, and then this one is multiplied here. So simplifying this, okay, this one becomes 3 times um, negative 1, right? Okay, let me just put this on the right side instead. Okay, so let me have this one. Okay, I'll just, yeah, okay, let's just put it here. Okay, so again, this times this will give you 3 times negative 1. And then let's multiply this and this one. So you'll get 2 minus t, and then t minus 4. So there you go. Okay, and then you simplify from here. So you bring down negative 3. So what's your answer here? Okay, so basically you need to distribute this twice. Okay, so you get 2t. Okay, like that. Then minus 8. And then, of course, this one, negative t squared plus 4t. All right. Okay. So so this is quadratic, right? So I'll rearrange this back into a standard form. So you'll get t squared. So this is minus 6t, right? Minus 6t, and then positive 8. So we have plus 5, right? Equals 0. There you go. Okay, so this is now in standard form, okay, for quadratic equation. Now, um, how do we answer this? We just need to factorize, right? So what's the factor of this equation, this quadratic equation? So since you have 3 terms, the way you can factorize is by again looking for the factors of 5 and then sum of negative 6. So basically, your answer here is t minus 5 times t minus 1, right? Because because negative 5 times negative 1 is positive 5, and the negative 5 minus 1 is negative 6. So these are the correct um, factors. All right, so what are the values of t? So t minus 5 equals 0 will give you t equals 5. All right, and then the other one is t minus 1 equals 0. So therefore, t here um, is equal to 1. Now, we have two values of t, okay? Which one is the correct value of t? Is it 5 or 1? Hmm? Is it 5 or 1? Okay, now, look, let's analyze this one. It involves a little bit of analysis. Look, if you put, let's begin with 1. If you put 1 as the value of t, look at point A and point C. They will be the same, right? Which is not possible since they are collinear. Okay, so point A and point C should be different or distinct from one another. So therefore, I'm going to reject t is equal to 1. Okay, so this is not the correct value. So I'll reject this one. So the correct answer is t equals 5. All right, so there you go.